everybody. Good afternoon. Hope you're having a wonderful Comic-Con. Yeah. I'm your moderator today, Jessica Chobot, and welcome to the video... Aw, thanks, guys. And welcome to the video game culture of zombies. Now, whether you're trying to survive and gleefully humiliate zombies in Capcom's Dead Rising series, or you have your own plan of action for survival based off of Max Brooks' Zombie Survival Guide, one thing is for sure, that zombies have buried themselves into our pop culture. See what I did there? Yeah, thank you. Thank you. And are not going away anytime soon. So, to talk more about that, please welcome our panelists. We have Jeff Cork, Senior Editor Extraordinaire at Game Informer. Yeah. Josh Bridge, Executive Producer on Dead Rising 3. Alan Jarvie, Art Director on Dead Rising 3. And Max Brooks, well-known author of The Zombie Survival Guide and World War Z, an oral history of the zombie war. And then we have Blaine, who will be working the slides. Yeah, Blaine! Go, Blaine!
Yeah, go, Blaine! Yeah.
He's Blaine, really stand up. Stand up so they can see you. Doesn't he look like a really buff Will Wheaton? Look at him.
Jesus.
Yeah. He cosplays as Superman on occasion.
He's really good with clicking buttons.
So we're going to keep this panel really casual because those are always the most fun. So panelists, feel free to jump in on each other's sentences.
Oh, we will.
I don't know,
we will.
fight.
Yeah, we will, yes.
Everything's game. And just to start things off on the right foot and to break the ice, I'm going to ask the one question that everyone has an answer for, which is, what is your zombie apocalypse battle plan?
Outrun my children.
Wait, what did you just say?
I just said outrun my children. No.
You'll run your children?
Outrun.
Outrun. Oh,
No.
You're a horrible father.
No. I think that looking at my life, I've blown it as far as the zombie apocalypse goes because I've settled into the suburbs, which the roads around there are going to be completely clogged immediately. I've got beautiful floor-to-ceiling windows which let light in, and zombies are just going to smash through that. And I also have a family, which I love and adore, but that is, if you watch anything related to zombies, that's a huge liability. So, again, families never end well in the zombie apocalypse. So probably my real plan is to go to Super Target, eat all the ice cream, and take it from there.
Nice. I think I would actually try to get my armored car going. I want to head to the hills. I want some height in this. On my way there, I will stop by and pick up Jeff's children.
You gotta use them as little chicken McNugget zombie bombs.
Yes.
Gives you extra time.
Now that I know his family's safe, I'll then hold up, probably stop by a Costco for sure. Definitely want some of that. And then hold up in the hills, nice and high with my sniper rifle.
I think I'll stockpile some Campbell's soup. Campbell's soup always does really well. The stock rises hugely in any kind of disaster, so being a Scotsman, I'll probably pick up some of that and see if I can cash in a little bit as well.
Nice, nice.
And being a Scotsman, you'll have a claymore.
Yeah, and I'm going to not swear, because it's under 18 years of age on this.
That's right. Well, basically, I've been ready for the zombie apocalypse my whole life. I just didn't know it because I grew up in Southern California. So I had a zombie kit. We called it an earthquake kit. If you live in Southern California, you're pretty much always ready because you have to deal with fires, floods, the LAPD beating some poor guy and then getting acquitted in Simi Valley and starting a riot and then leaving.
Random story.
Thanks, guys. So basically, I've been ready. And that's the way, and I also live in Venice, which is gentrifying, but not gentrified. So we always sort of have to be ready for trouble. And that's pretty much my plan is to keep doing what I'm doing and never stop being paranoid and neurotic. But I mean, I'm Jewish, so.
So stay in Venice and write books.
Exactly.
It's cool.
See, I'm just gonna roll solo. I just figure it's the easiest way because I can hide, and I'm just gonna tie myself to trees up in the air at night when I sleep, and then I'm just gonna hope that nothing finds me. That's my goal.
Sweet.
And just then murder a bunch
You're
of
not
people.
going to
live.
Just going to say it.
But it would be fun because eventually there will be some zombie survivor nerds being like, "Oh my God, dude, there's a babe tied in the trees.
I love this.
There is a God.
Easy bait. All right, so let's jump right into it. Jeff, let's have you start off the actual discussion. What's been the evolution of zombies within video games?
Oh boy, that's the big question. I guess I'm gonna kind of do something a little different rather than do like a big data barf of all the zombie video games. I figure
That's
you
a new
guys.
term. Is that technical?
It's an industry term, data barf. Figure everyone knows how to use Wikipedia and they can just do that themselves. Instead, what I'm going to kind of do is just like movies have a lot of common themes and elements with zombies in the zombie genre, like helicopters and people writing help in red. Video games have a lot of gameplay mechanics and elements that have kind of woven through the zombie genre over the years. And a lot of those have roots that extend far back beyond the zombie phenomena. So what I'm going to do kind of is look at some of those earlier games as examples. They're not necessarily the first time that we saw these things, but I think they're good representations of those elements. So, without further ado, and real quick, just for a point of clarification, when I say zombies, I'm talking about reanimated human people, so like necromorphs in Dead Space, Las Plagas in Resident Evil 4, the clickers in Last of Us. Well, I'll call them zombies, even though they might stay away from the Z word, just to make things simple. So anyway, one of the first things that's kind of a common, if you want to move ahead there, Blaine. No, we'll skip ahead. Yeah, this is one of the common themes is like killing people is fun when they're zombies. So here's an old arcade game, Death Race 2000, and it was kind of controversial for the time because you see there's little humanoid figures and you could run over them with your car, and they got away with it at the time by saying they were gremlins, they're not people. And it works similarly with humans or with zombies in video games. You could do stuff like run them over with combines and lawnmowers, and you can dismember them. You can put traffic cones on zombie heads. You can do all kinds of things that you wouldn't necessarily get away with if they were just straight up humans. So,
What was the one? Didn't they just have a video game come out a couple years back that was an ambulance, and you would run over zombies? Am I mistaken?
Yeah, I'm sure
I
they
can't remember
did.
the name of it, but
That's
I think
one of the things.
reminds me of this.
There's so many zombie games. Like, if you want to make your computer freeze indefinitely, go to iTunes and do a search for zombie and show all.
And this is something especially for the younger people who are here. Like, you guys don't understand. Like, when we grew up in the '80s, there was this big fear that video games were going to get violent. And I'm happy to say like that fear never came true.
Yeah. It's interesting because like first-person shooters, they were kind of on the verge of getting like super crazy violent. With remember Soldier of Fortune, their big thing was like 26 points of destruction on a human body, and that kind of you still have Mortal Kombat and whatnot, but for the most part, all that crazy stuff is in the zombie game genre. Next. Another prevailing theme, people are just the worst, and you find that within zombie movies, and we're finally at a point in game storytelling where games are able to reflect that. You look at early games like Resident Evil, the big story was primarily about some weird pseudo-scientific explanation of how the zombie plague came into being in the first place, and now developers are more interested in telling the human stories behind there. And it's been a big thing, like Last of Us obviously won a tremendous amount of accolades for that. Walking Dead games have gotten a lot of credit for a lot of Game of the Year recognition for that. And then also, like, if you want to play something like DayZ, which is an open-ended kind of a sandbox game on PC, you can be the worst person you want to actual people, too. So it's not necessarily just a scripted storyline that reflects that kind of thing. Next. Stealth is another big component. You watch a zombie movie, there's always some jerk who blows it by sneezing, or some baby that cries, and then all the zombies come. It's kind of like that in games too. If you play, Last of Us, you always have to be quiet. The clickers are there. They're always a big threat. If you play Left 4 Dead with someone who doesn't know what they're doing, and they bump into a car, and the car alarm goes on, and then huge swarms of zombies come, and the day is ruined. People have been experimenting with stealth in games for a long time too. Like Thief on PC was an early example of that in the detection. And it's another thing that I think is a really interesting mechanic that kind of reflects things that we see in movies. Next slide. All right, this takes me back. I have a soft spot for this game. This is the original Castle Wolfenstein before it brought it into 3D. And it was one of the first games that I remember that had, excuse me, limited ammunition. Up until then, I remember you could basically get away with shooting as many bullets as long as you could push the button. This one, you had to kind of recover ammunition, which is another theme, limited supplies in a zombie game.
And it talked, remember? Remember what the Nazis would say?
Yeah, exactly.
Achtung, halt.
Out of that tiny little speaker. And they're like, I can't speak German and I can't understand what this is, but it's speech. Sure. Yeah, so, limited ammunition is always a big thing. Resident Evil kind of, rightfully so, gets a lot of credit for being one of the innovators in survival horror. And that's something that we kind of directly associate with zombies, but that's kind of branched out as a genre to include other kinds of monsters. Next slide. And kind of along the same lines with weapons, you have improvised weapons. You don't have a lot of time in a zombie apocalypse to prepare. Maybe Max has, but the rest of us hasn't. So you have to make do. Here's a shot from Dead Island. You got a spiked bat. Someone's driven a bunch of nails into a baseball bat and they're using it. You see that in a lot of games, people using golf clubs. You remember Zombies Ate My Neighbors on the Super Nintendo, throwing like soda cans and using a weed whackers against the zombies. Yeah, so there's that. Next one, fortification, another thing. This is Rampart, an old arcade game that I really liked. You had 2 phases. You'd build your base, and then the ship units would kind of destroy it. And that's kind of a thing that I really enjoy about zombie games, is kind of the feeling that zombies are coming. You don't have much time to prepare your defenses. So, like, you play Minecraft and you're not building, Starship Enterprise. You're actually playing the survival mode. You know what I'm talking about. And the next one. Robotron 2084 has 2 mechanics that I really like. The first of which is that you've got units that are instantly identifiable. You've got different types like the Hulks, which are the big beefy dudes. They're indestructible. You've got the Brains, which I don't believe are in this screenshot. They can kind of convert other guys. But in zombie games, you typically have different types of zombies. You've got the fat ones that explode. You've got the ones that will shoot, or rather spit stuff at you. You've got ones that run at you. You've got aggro ones, just all kinds of crazy variations. And that's something that's very much associated with zombie games, is just having different unit types. You can like instantly go, okay, this is what I'm up against. This is how I have to react. And also, Robotron had like swarms of enemies, which is something that until relatively recently we haven't seen in video games. You remember like when games made the transition to 3D, Resident Evil only had a couple of zombies on screen at a time. And that was good enough, but it wasn't until you got to something like, next slide, this is completely self-serving, but you get to like Dead Rising, which was, I remember being completely blown away at the time, because here I was for the first time in a like 3D environment with hordes of zombies. Like the closest I'd been able to get to that as a player was putting in a bunch of codes in GTA 3 and making all the pedestrians super pissed off, which, worked in a pinch, but it just wasn't nearly as much fun.
In a pinch.
And zombies in a mall. Wow. Moving right along.
Yeah. Ta-da. Yeah, basically, I think that where I see zombie games going is probably a more open-ended MMO-style thing. Because, like, ultimately, I like the idea of being able to, you talk to somebody, what's your survival plan? Everyone has an answer to that. And I think it'd be great to actually be able to play that. You know what I mean? Like, actually align with other people, create your own factions, like hold up in a prison. And if you want to decide to research for a cure, great. If you want to just kill everyone who kind of walks along the road near you, even better, maybe? I don't know. Everyone does their own thing. And also at Comic-Con, I think I played a bunch of Street Pass just because everyone has a 3DS here. Nintendo is insane if they don't do something with like a zombie outbreak in Street Pass, because that would be like the most fantastic idea ever. But they probably wouldn't unless they made it like super cute. But whatevs.
All right, so Josh, Alan, let's move on to you guys. With the culture of zombies constantly evolving and changing, what is Dead Rising 3 doing in order to kind of push the envelope?
Sure. Well, first up, we did this next generation slide right here. We put in really detailed blood dripping physics technology. Took it
Yeah,
away.
thanks, Blaine.
Yeah, thanks, Blaine. Okay. Something we want to do is, we've always been massive fans of just the zombie genre and zombie movies and books. And what we want to do with Dead Rising 3 was kind of evolve the series and also tie in a lot of these sort of tenets that are part of the culture of zombies. Let's kind of slide me.
Slide me.
Slide me. First up, this is a shot out of the game. One of the big things that we wanted to do was give you this big open world with more zombies than ever before, even further than what we've seen in the past. And we want to give you that freedom to sort of like, play how you want, so essentially survive in your own way. Slide me. You can see, like, we've really opened up the world and the vistas, and all these stores and all these things are actually enterable. right? Because we want to actually add that layer of authenticity so that you're empowered to sort of make that choice of what do I want to do? Where should I go? It's up to you. So we're not trying to limit you. We actually want to open this up for you to survive. Next slide. And then scavenging is a really big part of the game.